The night my parents handed my sister a brand new house for graduation, the room erupted. Applause, phones up, proud smiles everywhere. Then my dad turned to me and said, "And for you, Mia, a gym membership." People laughed, not awkwardly, loud. I felt something crack. I walked out shaking, telling myself humiliation was the worst they could do. I was wrong. Weeks later, a letter arrived with my name printed neatly on the front. Inside was proof that my family hadn't just embarrassed me. They had crossed a line that could ruin my life. And that house. It was only the beginning of everything else. My name is Mia. I'm in my early 30s, and I work a steady office job that pays the bills and keeps my life predictable. I live alone in a small apartment in a big city. Nothing fancy, just clean counters, quiet nights, and space that's mine. I've always liked it that way. From the outside, my family looked perfect. Holiday photos on the wall, big dinners, loud laughter, the kind of family people assume is close. But inside that house, there was a clear order, and I learned it early. Barbara, my older sister, was the golden one. Everything came easier to her, or at least it seemed to. When she messed up, someone cleaned it up. When she wanted something, it appeared. New car after an accident. Extra help when classes got tough. Excuses made on her behalf before anyone even asked. I was the opposite, the responsible one. The one who didn't need help, the one who could handle it. If something went wrong in my life, the answer was always the same: you'll figure it out. And I did. Over and over again. That night at the graduation dinner, the pattern finally became impossible to ignore. The house they gave Barbara was worth around $120,000. Everyone knew it. They didn't whisper it. They announced it like a trophy. Barbara played surprised, but her smile gave her away. She'd known. She always knew. When my gift came out, it was small enough to fit in one hand. A gym membership. My mother said it was practical. My father joked about staying healthy. A few relatives laughed like they were relieved it wasn't happening to them. I remember looking down at the table, tracing a scratch in the wood, with my finger trying to breathe normally. I wasn't angry yet. I was embarrassed. Shrunk. Like I'd just been reminded of my place. Barbara leaned over and whispered something about how I could upgrade myself if I tried harder. I didn't answer. I didn't trust my voice. That was the moment I understood something important. This wasn't thoughtless. It wasn't a mistake. It was deliberate. And if I stayed, I'd spend the rest of my life being grateful for scraps. I didn't make a speech when I left that night. I didn't flip a table or shout across the room. I just stood up, picked up my coat, and said, "I'm heading out." My mother frowned like I'd embarrassed her. My father barely looked up. Barbara smirked, already distracted by the attention around her. The cold air outside hit my face, and I kept walking until my hands stopped shaking. I sat in my car for a long time, staring at the steering wheel, replaying every laugh in my head. That was when I decided I was done pretending this was normal. Within a week, I found my apartment, small, quiet, and mine. I moved without asking for help. I didn't tell my parents where I was going. I didn't make announcements. I just left. For the first few days, the silence felt strange. Then it felt peaceful. Barbara broke it first. She called, her voice light and teasing. "So, how's the place, cozy?" I didn't answer. She texted later, a photo of her living room, hardwood floors, big windows, a caption that said, "Still can't believe it's mine." I muted the thread. My parents tried next. My mother left voicemails asking if I was done being dramatic. My father texted once, "Call when you cool off." I didn't respond. Every message felt less like concern and more like irritation that I wasn't playing my role. A month passed. I settled into a routine. Work during the day, simple dinners at night. I bought a cheap plant for the window and watched it grow. It felt like proof that something in my life was finally moving forward instead of sideways. Then, late one evening, my phone rang. Barbara's name lit up the screen. I almost ignored it, but something in my gut told me to answer. She was crying. Not performative crying, real panic. Between gasps, she told me she'd made a mistake, a stupid one. She'd gone to a casino on a trip with friends. She thought she could double some money. She kept betting. She didn't stop. She lost the house. I sat on the edge of my bed listening. I didn't interrupt. I didn't comfort her either. When she finished, there was a long pause. She finally said, "Mom and Dad are freaking out." Of course they were. The call started the next morning. My parents urgent now, softer. They said things like family helps family and this isn't the time to hold grudges. They asked if I could help cover some bills, just for a little while, until things got sorted out. I stared at the wall and felt something shift inside me. This was it, the moment everything I'd lived through led to, and I knew whatever I chose next would change everything. I didn't answer my parents right away. I needed time to think not about money, but about patterns, about how quickly the tone had changed. A month earlier, I was dramatic. Now, I was needed. Barbara showed up at my apartment 2 days later. I hadn't given her the address. That alone should have warned me. She stood in the hallway looking smaller than I remembered, her confidence replaced with desperation. Her clothes were wrinkled, her eyes red, her voice unsteady. "I just need somewhere to crash," she said, "just for a night." I let her sit on the couch. I didn't offer food. I didn't hug her. I listened. She talked in circles, about bad luck, about pressure, about how none of this would have happened if our parents hadn't pushed her so hard. Not once did she say I messed up. She stayed the night, then another. She started treating my apartment like a temporary inconvenience she'd soon escape. She ate my groceries without asking, used my shower, left her bag by the door like she belonged there. When I told her she couldn't stay anymore, her face changed. The panic turned sharp. "What am I supposed to do?" she snapped. "Sleep in my car." I didn't raise my voice. "You need to figure something out." She left that night, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the frame. The next morning, my mother called crying. She said Barbara was suffering, that I was being cruel. My father followed with a text reminding me how much they'd done for me growing up, as if support was a loan I'd unknowingly signed for. Then things got strange. Small things in my apartment started going missing. Food I knew I hadn't eaten. A blanket folded differently than I'd left it. At first, I blamed myself. Stress messes with memory. One night, I noticed the window in my laundry nook wasn't fully locked. I never opened that window. I set up my phone to record before going to bed. The footage made my stomach drop. At 2 in the morning, the window slid open. Barbara climbed in quietly like she'd done it before. She went straight to the kitchen, ate standing up, then curled up on the floor with one of my blankets and fell asleep. I confronted her the next day. She denied it until I showed her the video. Then she broke down. She said she was ashamed, that she didn't want our parents to see how bad things were, that she thought I wouldn't notice. I gave her 1 hour to leave and told her not to come back. That's when my parents stopped asking. They started accusing. They told relatives I was heartless, that I'd abandoned my sister when she needed me most, that I was cold, ungrateful. Only one person pushed back. My uncle. He called me and said, "You're not wrong." And they know it. They're just not used to consequences. I wanted to believe that was the end of it. But what I didn't know yet was that while they were talking about me behind my back, they were already planning their next move. The letter arrived on a Tuesday. Plain envelope. My name printed neatly like nothing inside could possibly be dangerous. I opened it standing at the counter, coffee going cold beside me. It said I owed money. Not a small amount. Enough to make my chest tighten. Enough to threaten everything I'd worked for. The letter listed payments that were past due and warned that further action would follow if the balance wasn't addressed. I read it 3 times, convinced there had been some kind of mix-up. I hadn't taken out any loans. I paid my bills on time. I kept my life boring on purpose. Then I saw the address on the paperwork, my parents' house. My hands started to shake. I spent the rest of the day making calls, asking careful questions, writing things down. By the time the sun went down, I understood exactly what had happened. Someone had used my information to open a loan. The money had gone straight into covering Barbara's mess, rent, utilities, other bills they didn't want to name. They hadn't asked me. They hadn't warned me. They'd decided for me. I drove to my parents' house that night. I didn't call ahead. I didn't need to. I walked up the familiar steps, feeling like I was entering a place that no longer belonged to me. My mother opened the door and froze when she saw my face. "Mia," she said too quickly, "you should have called." I walked past her into the living room. My father was sitting on the couch. Barbara stood near the window, arms crossed, jaw tight. I set the letter on the table. "Explain." My mother picked it up, glanced at it, then looked away. "We were going to tell you." When I asked, my voice was steady, which surprised me. My father sighed like I was exhausting him. Things got out of hand. We needed time. "You used my name," I said. "My credit. My future." Barbara scoffed. "You're overreacting. It's temporary." I turned to her. "You don't get to decide that." My mother stepped between us, palms up. You know how desperate she was. What were we supposed to do? Let her end up on the street? I laughed once. Short, sharp. "So you decided to put me there instead." "That's not fair," my father snapped. "We raised you. Don't you think you owe us something?" That was it. The sentence I'd been waiting for my whole life. "No," I said. "I don't." The room went quiet. I told them everything, slowly, clearly. I explained what this could do to me, how it could affect my ability to rent, to move, to live. I told them this wasn't a family disagreement. It was a serious violation. My mother started crying, real tears this time. "We didn't think you'd find out so fast." Barbara rolled her eyes. "You always make everything about you." I turned back to my parents. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to fix this. Immediately. You're going to handle the payments and close anything opened in my name. If I hear from them again, I will involve the authorities. I'm not threatening you. I'm informing you." My father stood up, anger flashing across his face. "You wouldn't." "I would," I said. "And I won't lose sleep over it." Barbara exploded. "You're unbelievable. You have a good job, a nice life. You could help me, and you're choosing not to." I looked at her and saw it clearly for the first time. Not confidence, not entitlement. Fear. "I already helped you," I said quietly, "by stepping aside and letting you face your own choices." She stared at me, stunned. I left without another word. For the next 2 days, my phone didn't stop buzzing. Calls, messages, guilt dressed up as concern, accusations disguised as disappointment. I didn't answer any of it. On the 3rd day, I got confirmation that the loan had been handled, closed, paid. Again, I didn't ask how. I locked down my credit, changed passwords, drew lines so clear they couldn't pretend not to see them. That night, my uncle called. "They're furious," he said, "but they're scared too. They know they went too far." "What about Barbara?" I asked. "She's angry," he said, "but for the first time, she's also stuck." I hung up and sat in the quiet of my apartment, listening to the hum of the vent, the city muffled outside the window. My heart was still racing, but underneath it was something new. Relief. A week later, Barbara tried again. She showed up unannounced, standing in the same spot she'd stood before. She looked worse, tired, worn down. "I just need to talk," she said. I didn't move. "Say it." "They won't help me anymore," she said. "Mom and Dad. They said I need to figure it out." I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "I can't do this alone," she said. "I can't keep working 2 jobs. I can't live like this." I held the door. "You should have thought about that before," she snapped. "You think you're better than me?" "No," I said. "I think I learned faster." She left without another word. That was the moment I understood the power had shifted. Not because I'd won something, but because I'd stopped losing myself to them. And for the first time, they had nothing left to take. After that night, everything went quiet. The loan was officially closed. My credit was locked down. No more letters. No more threats hiding behind polite language. I changed my routines, updated my accounts, and made sure no one could touch my life without my consent again. Barbara stopped showing up. From what I heard through my uncle, she moved into a tiny apartment and picked up extra shifts to keep up with her bills. No house, no safety net, just consequences. My parents still complained about her, but something had shifted. They weren't rescuing her anymore. Not because they'd grown wiser, but because they were out of options. As for me, I focused forward. I got a promotion at work. Nothing flashy, just more responsibility and better pay. A few months later, I moved into a better apartment. More light, more space, more quiet. I bought a second plant for the window and watched both of them thrive. My parents tried reaching out once, testing the waters with small, careful messages. I didn't respond. Silence felt healthier than any conversation we'd ever had. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't waiting for apologies or closure. I didn't need to prove anything. Walking away hadn't ruined my family like they warned me it would. It saved me. I learned that love without limits isn't love, it's permission to be used. Walking away didn't make me heartless, it made me free. If you've ever had to protect yourself from the people who should have protected you, you're not alone. Share your story in the comments and subscribe so you don't miss the next one.